Hello everyone, I'm Savannah Kepley and I am a middle school language arts teacher, and I'm here sharing some things that you can do this summer in order to help prep for an amazing school year. So it's not long, complicated things, just a couple of steps that you can do that's going to make your start of school year a little bit smoother. So tip number one, and you can go back and watch the videos, I am linking them below. But tip number one was about creating your roadmap or your pacing guide for the year. Tip number two is about locking in your classroom management strategies, and I gave you some suggestions of what I do with mine. Tip number three was solidifying what communication method that you're going to use with your parents. And today is tip number four. And tip number four is just getting your welcome letter ready. So let me show you what I put in my welcome letter to give you some ideas, because this is a way to introduce you to the parent. And it's kind of like a syllabus in a way as well, because it explains what you're doing this year. It explains your homework policy, your grading policy. It explains all of these things. And plus, you can get some information from parents as well. Let's look at what's in my welcome letter to give you some ideas. So here's my welcome letter. I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole thing really quick. So this is the front, and then this is the back. All right, so let's go in and look at what each section is. So at the top, I say, welcome 7th grade ELA. I have my little Bitmoji over here, and then just a little note for me about how excited I am to teach their students and how we're going to have an amazing year. So that goes at the top. And then underneath that, I have just what we are going over each quarter. And if you look at the pacing guide that I talked about in the first video, I just took this stuff from the pacing guide. And then down here, materials that they need, the grading policy that we have, and we do not set the grading policy, that is set by our school. So, but I still put it in there. This one I talk about the reading, that we cover the essential standards from North Carolina, which basically are like all the standards for ELA, but that's okay. So we talk about that, and then I do have students bring their own novel to class so they can annotate it. And of course, if we have students who cannot bring their novels, I do have extra for them. I never really had any pushback from this. I've taught in many different types of school settings. And parents usually are happy to buy books. And of course, there are a couple of students who can't purchase books on their own, and that's okay. I tell them to talk to me privately, and I get the books for them, or they use the classroom copy. At my school, we are required to have tutoring. So this is tutoring information. That's when I tutor. I don't know if you're required to have tutoring, but some type of intervention stuff could go there. So that is kind of like our topics and like our class policies there. And then I put in my email, and then I have this little QR code that they can scan that will automatically add me to their contact list, which I think is pretty nifty, pretty cool. Second page, student information. This is what I get from the parent. And I have to tell you, this thing right here, who is the best person to contact? Phone and email. So one time I have a little story time about this. So one time we had a student who was making some disturbing remarks and causing some concern and worry for his personal safety. And a student reached out to me in his class, and then I in turn reached out to our principal about it. And our principal had tried to contact the parent using the information that we had in PowerSchool. Well, the information that we had in PowerSchool was incorrect. They did not have, because this was at the beginning of the year, they did not have an updated email or phone number. So he reached out to me and said, what did they put on your student information sheet? Because he knew that I had sent this out. And so I pulled this sheet out, and I looked at the phone number and best person to contact in the email, and I gave it to him, and that worked. So he was able to get some information from me that he did not have already. So I do think parents filling out these forms are super beneficial, because sometimes you can get more up-to-date information than what is on your school management software. So just a little side note from that yes, it might feel redundant, but it isn't always redundant. From there, I have these topics right here. And I do think this right here, what motivates your child and what how would you describe your child is very telling when you see how parents answer that question. And I read every single one of these because I want to know a little bit more about the child, the student, and I want to know how they are viewed in their parents' eyes. And then please list the names and emails of people who would like to be on the weekly email list. So I want to know if it's mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad, grandma, kitty cat, goat, I don't care. But I want to make sure that everybody who needs to be getting the weekly emails I talked about in the last video is getting the weekly emails. And then I have a QR code that I put right here that if they want to do it digitally, they can. They just scan that QR code and it takes them to a Google form. And then I remind them that the best way to get in touch with me is via email. And then I put that QR code that's on here on the front page, on the back page as well. Because sometimes we skip over this part. I used to put my Amazon wish list down here on the front. And that's also an option for you if you would rather put your Amazon wish list on the front and then your email on the back. That works as well. That is the welcome letter. And I think it's a great way to introduce yourself to parents and get the ball rolling that you are going to be a great communicator, that you're excited about your job, and that you want to keep them in the loop of what's happening. A little tip I do is I print these on different colors for each class. Like my first period will be pink, second period green, that kind of thing. And so that way I can organize them easily, and I put them in my filing cabinet that first week, or as they're coming in, I'm adding the email addresses to a contact list for each class. And so I can quickly email parents in groups, or I can pull out a kid and email them if needed. So I just do it as they come in, and it makes life a little bit easier in the long run, so you don't have like a pile of 100 and something forms that you are entering in information from. And that is it. That is the welcome letter that I use for my class, and I encourage you to write one this summer that you can print off and be ready to go once your school year starts. Again, you do not have to put your email on both sides. You can do an Amazon wish list on one side and then your email on the other. That's also a great option. If you're a member of ELA Unlimited, I do have this template inside of ELA Unlimited, and I will link that in the description. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will be back tomorrow with the 5th thing that you can do to help make the start of your school year amazing. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.